Hey guys, welcome to another video from the GTOger channel. We're going to do something a little bit different again today, so I hope you guys are along for the ride and enjoy it. I know everybody loves the tow videos. I just have not gotten any new tow videos. There's nothing for me to edit this week. The other thing is, a couple of weeks ago I put out the call for some questions so we could do a question and answer video, and some of you guys wrote some really good questions, so I thought I'd take just a few minutes here and get you some answers if I can. So let's revel in the face reveal and get on with the questions. First question, it's from Helen Grunow. She writes, "Why do I enjoy this footage so much?" Well, Helen, it probably has to do with the concept of Schadenfreude. And Schadenfreude is a German word that comes from the combination of two words, Schaden and Freude. And Schaden is the concept of damage and harm, and Freude is joy. So look, only the Germans could come up with a concept like this. It is literally the pleasure you take out of seeing the misfortune of somebody else. We also tend to see comments like, why do I enjoy this so much? Am I a horrible person? And no, you're not a horrible person. Schadenfreude is an absolutely normal thing to experience. If you experienced pleasure from causing somebody else's pain, that's sadism. That's bad. But these videos, totally fine. Rocco6Alex wants to know, why do so many people park when it clearly says no parking? And why are the trucks so fast? Well, I do not know the answer to the first part of your question. Maybe they ignore the signs, maybe they think the rules don't apply to them, maybe they're so focused on whatever it is that they're doing, they just don't process the signs, and they decide that it's okay to park here even though the signs clearly state that it is not. It could be 100 different things. As for why the tow trucks show up so quickly, there's a couple of good reasons for that. Number one is the impound yard really isn't very far from where we are, so it only takes a few minutes for the tow trucks to get here. The second reason, the tow truck driver only gets paid if he gets a car towed. It doesn't pay for him to be slow. They want to respond quickly while the car is still there so they can actually get paid for providing that service. Amelia Boatwright wants to know, when did this problem first arise? Are most of the towees at a bar? Or where else do they go? So the company that I work for has been here for 12 years, and this has been an issue since day one. This is part of the issue with being in an urban environment. Parking is scarce. We had a couple of occasions when we were first moving in that our loading dock was actually blocked and the moving truck had to sit around waiting for the person to come back. When you're paying movers by the hour and renting the truck, that just costs money. It's even worse for our customers if they've got a maintenance window and they need to get something done in a hurry. That's going to be a problem if they show up and all of the parking spaces are taken. Okay, next question. Catastrophe says, hey, greetings from Brazil. What is the average number of cars towed in a week? Are there any days of the week that cars are more towed, like a Friday or over the weekend? Hey, hola Brazil. Here's a bonus fun fact for you. Almost 50% of our viewers actually come from outside the United States. We see a lot of viewers from English-speaking countries like the UK and Canada and Australia. So hey guys, no surprise, our largest non-English speaking audience comes from Germany. Schadenfreude. So check in with us in the comment section below and tell us where you're viewing from. I'd love to see where all of you guys are watching our videos from. To answer your question, I'm sorry I don't have a better answer. There's not really a good average. We've had weeks where maybe 10 cars get towed, and then we've got days like today. We've gone, I think, 4 weeks since we've towed any cars at all. So it's just kind of hit or miss. A lot depends on the season, on what's going on around the neighborhood. While that's kind of sad for the channel, I don't have any new content for you guys to enjoy. It's actually a very good thing for the business. All right, next question. Barbara Jacobs wants to know, well, Barbara?
Sorry you were sick. Get well soon. Question, has anyone ever been a repeat towed? As in, they parked and got towed more than one time?
Okay. That's a really good question, Barbara. And yeah, it's true, I had the plague and I am feeling better, so thank you for asking. From what I hear, it's been going around a lot lately this winter. If you haven't been sick, you probably know somebody who has been. Anyhow, to answer your question, I don't know of anybody who's been towed from this lot more than once. We did post a video a while back where a car actually had writing on the windshield that looked like something that would come from an impound yard. So maybe it's possible that that guy had made a bad parking decision, gotten towed, went to pick his car up from the impound lot, drove it around, and came back and made another bad parking decision and got towed again. But past that, I can't really say for sure. I haven't seen anybody get towed from our lot more than once. They seem to learn that lesson. All right, next question from G4 MacMan. My kids want to know who all the tow truck companies are and if there are any regulars you work with. Okay, G4 MacMan, I'll answer this one for your kids. The company that I work for has had a contract with a company that is responsible for clearing the lot and the impound yard. That's been about 10 years now. I don't know everything about their business, but my understanding is that they subcontract with different tow trucks or different tow drivers in order to bring cars over to the impound yards. The companies that we tend to see the most are All-Star, Dynamic, and CT Towing. CL4KFL wants to know, number 1, why do people take a picture of the sign instead of just calling the number? And number 2, are the tow trucks called in or are they on patrol? All right, great questions. Number 1, I'm guessing people take pictures for a handful of reasons. I'm just guessing, but the one that makes the most sense to me is that they want to take a picture of the sign because it's got the number of the tow company on it. Maybe it's easier to take a picture with your smartphone than it is to write it down on something. As for the second question, that's something that a lot of people are wondering about because that gets asked from time to time. Like this guy.
When the tow company shows up to move a vehicle illegally parked, does your business call them or do they just come on their own knowing so many people illegally park there?
And then Pork Britches.
How does the tow company know if a customer is on site? Do you call and tell them?
Right, so it can work both ways. The techs that work here have a bunch of different responsibilities through the day. They, on their shift, are responding to support tickets, manning the help desk. They're also doing tasks like making sure that the facility is up and running properly, monitoring the generator, the battery backup systems, the bandwidth, all that kind of stuff, as well as basic site security. One of the things that falls under that basic site security is making sure that the parking lot is clear for our customers. So it is certainly possible that the techs, if they see somebody park that doesn't belong there, part of their job is to make sure that that vehicle is removed. So they can call the tow company and actually request a tow. At the same time, the tow company does have a contract to patrol the lot. And they are allowed to take vehicles that do not belong here. If there is a question about which vehicles belong or don't, they'll typically contact their dispatcher who calls into our helpline and asks if a car belongs in that place or if it doesn't. Texas Kitty wants to know, I would like to know how the tow truck drivers decide which car to tow first. Is it the price of the car? It was there during the previous tow, the ease of the tow, or what? So that's a great question, Texas Kitty. I'm not sure that there is a rhyme or reason to it. I think most of the time it's first in, first out. But I've noticed that the cars aren't always taken in the order that they park, so I really don't have a great answer for that. It's probably not the value of the car because the tow fees are actually set by law. And it's going to be the same whether you drive a Maserati or a Honda. So here's a question from Andre Carmago. Do you get a commission from fees collected by the towing from your lot? I'd imagine towing companies battle to get new contracts from busy businesses like yours. No. We don't get any money from the tow company. The tow company doesn't get any money from us. No money changes hands. The towing fee is about $150. So if we think about it, the towing operator has to pay the driver, the expenses of the truck, like the fuel and the mileage, If they've got an office and overhead and phone lines and all that kind of stuff, they gotta pay all that out of their $150 tow. That's probably not leaving a whole lot left over to pay a kickback. Even so, that's prohibited by law, and the tow contractor could actually lose their license if they got caught paying a kickback. So no money changes hands. Maybe it's different in other locations, but that's the way that it works here. Missy says, has anyone that has been towed told you that they viewed your channel to see the actual event? Missy, great question. Yes, I can think of 2 cases in particular. One case was several months later that we got a phone call. We heard from the person, and in another case, the person actually posted in the comments section of their episode. And she was a really good sport about it. She was really cool. If you want to see that video, I'll go ahead and put a link down here in the video description, and I'll try to put a link up here so that you can click on that and see the video if you want to see it. Okay, Grant Bean wants to know,
I've watched 100 of these and never seen anyone tagged or towed when parking on the other side of the alley.
Okay, yeah, this comes up from time to time. That's a completely different business and a different building owner, so I don't really know what their policy is. I understand that they have an arrangement with one of the local restaurants across the street to provide after-hours parking for their overflow at night. I know that cars have been towed from there before, but that doesn't get logged over here. So I don't really know when it happens. That actually brings me to the next question. Driving Lessons by BMS says, hey, wait a minute. I know this guy. BMS is Big Mac Sam. This guy has a YouTube channel. He is a driving instructor in New York City. He posts videos of his students, of car crashes, of different weird stuff on his dash cam that he sees driving around New York City. It's pretty funny sometimes, so if you want to see his channel, I'll put a link down in the video description and you can check him out. So what's up, Big Mac Sam? You want to know if I look through hours of footage to see if anyone got towed, or do I know right away when someone gets towed? Right. So to answer the question, pretty much anything that happens around the facility gets logged, and that includes when a car gets removed for being non-authorized in the parking lot. So there is a written record of everything, and all that I really need to do is come in and check the log and see if there has been a tow event, and if there has, then I will pull that video from the video server and edit that and get that posted for you guys to enjoy. If we had to rely on me going through hours of footage over, 60 plus different cameras out there, we would never see a video at all because I'd never get anything done. So, hope that helps answer your question. What software do you use to compile and edit the videos? Are weekends when the most tows happen? So the vast majority of what I'm posting on the channel these days, I do in Adobe Premiere Pro. Adobe Premiere Pro is actually professional editing software. It's pretty expensive, and it's got a fairly steep learning curve to it. So if you were just getting started, I'm not sure that that's what you would want to use, but it is certainly very powerful, and once you get the hang of it, it's actually pretty enjoyable to use. And if you're going to do this sort of professionally or for a hobby, I would definitely recommend that or something like Avid or Final Cut Pro. As for your second question, I think most of our tows tend to occur on weekends. Although Thursdays seem to be a pretty popular day to park illegally and get your car towed as well. Bill Joe wants to know, have people who have had their cars towed come back to the building to complain? Okay, and Matthew Kleeman has a related question. He says, did anyone that was towed come back and argue or fight with you after they were towed? Yes. We have intercom stations at our doors, as some of you probably have seen on the videos. And we've had a few cases where people come back and they can get pretty angry. We had one case where a guy was just extremely drunk, and he comes up and mashes that button. The tech inside answers, and the guy's threatening to shoot the guy with a gun. Maybe in his drunken state he thought, oh, this is a really good idea. But what that really winds up with is a visit from the cops. Typically, we don't have a lot of reasons to go outside and get into some sort of confrontation with somebody, and we're pretty safe inside the building. But there have been a couple of cases where maybe one of the techs is taking the trash out for the night at the end of his shift, and he's been confronted by somebody who's been towed. There are a couple of videos that we've posted that actually show that, and I'll go ahead and put that link down in the video description in case you haven't seen it. All right, next question. Actually, Rebecca is on the other side of this camera right now, and she's helping me make this video. Rebecca, would you read this question?
Sure. EGJR0765 asks,
Catchy. Yeah.
has any towed party ever tried for payback against your business or employees?
Yeah, okay. That's
okay. A yes.
yeah, oh boy. So I have to say that I'm a little surprised that this hasn't happened more often since I've been here. But I think the reason that we don't see more of this is because pretty much everybody is aware now that anytime you go outside and you're walking around, you're probably on somebody's video camera someplace. And we have a lot of cameras outside, and it's very visible. We make no secret that we are taking recordings of everything, and we have signs that state that pretty much everywhere on the building. So if somebody's thinking about doing something stupid, they might take a look around and say, maybe this is not such a good idea. The number one case that we've had with somebody who wants to effect some sort of payback on us for having their vehicle towed was a few years ago. A guy parked his giant jacked up Ford F-something 50, and that thing was out in the lot. It got towed. He came back and he was really intoxicated. He wound up taking his payback by taking the key to his truck against another employee vehicle that was actually in the lot, and he went around all four sides of that vehicle scratching it all up with his key. That was pretty stupid because whenever a car gets towed, we have the license plate on file, and the tow truck company has the person's driver's license on file when they come to pick the car up. They make copies of all that information. So it's no secret who that person was. They wound up getting a visit from the police. They wound up losing a job opportunity and had to pay for that person's car to be completely repainted, and I think that was somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,500. So yes, he got his payback. Was it worth it? I don't think so. Other than that guy, have we ever heard back from folks who have gotten caught peeing or whatnot in the parking lot? Well, the one that comes to mind is the video about the Mad Ginger. I've got a link to his video down in the description and up here right now, so if you want to check him out. He got so mad at the no parking sign when he came back and found that his car had been towed that he ripped that sign off the wall and flung it. And to this day, this is the most impressive example of somebody throwing a sign that I've ever seen. If you want to check it out, it's linked down here, and I guess you'll be impressed. All right, Laura Elizabeth says, hi. This Q may have been asked already, but on average, what is the time span between the no-no parkers? Meaning, do the no-no parkers instantly come to park, or does it take a couple hours before the show up? What's the peak time of the no-no parkers? I love your videos, by the way. Awesome. Well, thanks for writing, Laura Elizabeth. Yeah, I got no clue. Next question. Oh, this guy's got a big one.
Here are some questions. Has anybody ever pulled a gun on the tow truck drivers or started a fight with them? Do the tow truck drivers get a commission for each tow? Do the tow truck drivers have a favorite brand of tow truck? I noticed that most trucks are Ford Super Duties. Take that, Chevy fanboys. How about doing an interview with the tow truck drivers? How about a tour of the GOAT? Do you own any other classic muscle cars? What are your favorite classic muscle cars?
All right.
Does Dallas have a cruise knife?
That's a lot of questions, James. I'll try to give you some answers. No, I'm not sure. Seems to be Ford. No, that's not practical because I really don't know those guys. Maybe. Yes. I like a lot of things, but I'm kind of partial to the 1967 GTO. Yes, sometimes. Yes, yes, and now you know. Next question. Hey, Rebecca, you want to read this one to me?
Alrighty. Why are there never any confrontations shown? Nobody is ever nearby when the tow trucks roll up, and nobody ever runs after their towed car to stop it. On TV tow shows, they often show them negotiate a fee to drop the car right there before towing it away, usually half price.
Okay, so to answer your questions, yeah, we actually have had situations where people have come back and confronted the tow truck driver. You might remember the Halloween episode from a few weeks ago. The no parking, remember that guy? That was really clever. He tried to prevent the Escalade from getting towed, and that didn't really work out for him. And then there was, a few months back, where a lady came running when she saw her car on the back of a tow truck, and she actually hopped in her car and tried to drive it off the back of the tow truck. That didn't work out too well for her either. As to why we don't show more confrontations, we've just got security cameras and they're kind of capturing the real life. We're not a cheesy reality show that's trying to manufacture some sort of drama or something like that. So it kind of is what it is, and you get what we get. Okay, here's another one that comes up quite a bit, and basically it's, why don't we have audio or microphones for the cameras? Right. Okay, so at one point we did actually have audio for the cameras. We put some microphones out there. The cameras take a special digital mic that connects to the network port and integrates with the camera. Unfortunately, they have two main problems. One is they just do not record voices well at all, or at least not in our environment. The parking lot out back can be kind of noisy with our cooling fans and traffic around the neighborhood, and we're kind of near a overpass for a highway, so there's a lot of ambient noise out there, and wound up that you really just have to shout to even be understandable on the microphone. The second problem with that is nobody seems to make a truly waterproof microphone for these security cameras. They seem to be intended for indoor use and not outdoor use. So what happens is after a couple of rainstorms, the microphones that didn't work very well to begin with wind up not working at all. Okay, so the next question. This is a good one. Rebecca, you want to read it to me?
Sure. What do the other people that work for the company you work for think of your videos?
All right, okay. So most of my colleagues and the techs that I work with, they tend to think it's pretty fun. Other people think it's kind of stupid. Like I say, most of the night techs think it's kind of funny because they like to see what winds up happening with the video. We wind up telling a little story, and that's kind of fun. So I think for the most part, they're on board with it. I know that the ladies in the front office just tend to roll their eyes and shake their heads at me. So I think it kind of depends on who you are, if you like the videos or not. Given the obvious demand, why don't you open an evening pay parking lot? You don't seem to need those spaces for the business at night since it's always empty, so why not get somebody out there charging to park? You're just making the tow companies rich. Unless you're in the tow business too. Okay, so yeah, this comes up a lot. I see it, and again, I think it's people who are not reading or understanding the FAQs, and this guy even has a really big suggestion.
Would it be easier to set up those parking space bollard blah 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 instead of towing words have someone unlock them for blah blah blah, a pole you can fold down nonsense jibber jabber words?
The suggestions are always, why don't we put cones up, or a gate, or a chain, or paint lines on the pavement. If we block the lot up with somebody who doesn't belong there, with a chain, or a gate, or stuff out of James Bond, that's just creating a blockage or an inconvenience to our customers, and we're just not going to do that. If we have the bandits get booted or somehow block them in, or wheel clamps, whatever you want to call them, we still have a problem with that vehicle taking up the space. And then let's think about the options from the company's perspective, my employer. They all wind up costing the company, and the company's just not going to pay for something that isn't as effective as the towing. So long as the people are going to park where they shouldn't, they're going to continue to get towed. It just works. Robbie J. Hope wants to know, I wonder if you guys make more money towing people's cars out of your lot or on YouTube ads. This is one that also comes up in the comments section quite a bit, and the advertising that you see in and around these videos also comes up a lot. I wish I had some sort of control over this, but I don't. It's all up to YouTube and their advertisers. At the end of the day, this YouTube thing has turned into something that's been a real help around my house with the extra income that YouTube provides for the advertising. So I get that nobody loves the ads, but they help pay for what YouTube is doing, and that's how they make their money. They split the advertising money with me, and like I say, that makes my life a little bit easier at home. So I think it's fun to put these videos online, and you guys seem to get a kick out of them. How did you find the iconic song that follows each tow truck? Yes, the tow truck theme. Hashtag drum beats. That music is called The Hero Steps Up, and it's composed by a guy named Dougie Wood. It's free for us to use, and it's in the YouTube audio library. There are a bunch of composers who make royalty-free music, and they publish that for anybody to use for free in the YouTube Creator Studio. You may know that YouTube is really serious when it comes to copyright. I get suggestions all the time about, hey, why don't you use the theme from Jaws when the tow truck comes up, or the Imperial March from Star Wars, or whatever. And unfortunately, although those are great suggestions, if I put that on a commercial video on YouTube, YouTube is going to throw a fit. And they can take down the video, they can punish me by demonetizing the video, or they can prevent me from posting videos at all for a certain amount of time. Fortunately, they have the Creator Studio available with all sorts of different music that I can use. On the downside, it's going to be music that nobody's ever heard of before. On the plus side, I don't get in trouble for using it, and you guys get exposed to stuff like drum beats. What can I say? It's the official song of the tow trucks now. Now, some of you have written in and said you've heard the tow truck theme on other videos or in commercials someplace. So if you have, tell me about it in the comment section down below, because I'd love to hear it. Or better yet, if you've got a link, show it to us and we can all get a kick out of that. Bishlov wants to know, have I found Dougie Wood yet? Right. Okay, so the guy that we've been talking about that wrote the tow truck theme. I really don't know anything about him. I can't find an official website or any information about him online. Maybe it's not even the guy's real name. I don't know. I'd love to talk to him or exchange an email or two with him or something. Dougie, if you're watching this, just know that I really appreciate your work. Thanks, man. There are millions of people who have heard your music and now associate that with tow trucks. I'm not sure it's exactly what you had in mind when you wrote the song. But just know that there are now a lot of us who, whenever we see a tow truck, we're going to be thinking about your music. Did I get the silver play button yet? Right. It's a great question. The silver play button is what creators on YouTube get when they surpass 100,000 viewers. And now we're about 150,000 viewers. So that is a fantastic question. As you know, it sometimes takes some time for YouTube to get that approved. Oh, hang on. We've gone a little bit long, so we're actually out of time on this video. That's all the time we have today. So really, I want to thank everybody for watching and being such a good sport. Seriously, most YouTube channel comment sections are nothing but toxic waste. And with the exception of the occasional troll, the viewers on this channel are really just nothing but cool in the comment section. You guys are awesome, and I really do look forward to seeing the comments that you post down there. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Give it a thumbs down if you didn't like it. And write a comment to me with any thoughts or questions you might have. Until later, park safe.